All right.
We're live.
We are live. Good evening, everybody, and welcome to Catfish Weekly. Hey, I said it right this time. I didn't even start with Catfish. I haven't even done anything yet. He's already losing control. Oh, I am Chad. This is our great and humble host, Mr. Lyle Stokes.
How you doing, everybody? Glad to see everybody in chat tonight. It's going to be a lot of fun. We're already getting wound up, and the show just started.
Can't take you anywhere.
I know. What do you say we welcome some people into chat tonight?
Let's do it, sir. We've got Mr. Joe Buck 66. We got avid fisherman John Patrick Jr., Matt from Wannabe Outdoors, Creole Catfishing, Trophy Seekers Outdoors. We got Miss Betty Jean Cross, who was driving but listening. Be safe, Miss Betty Jean. We got Crappie Day Fish on. Jason Dorochi, Crazy Cats Outdoors. Welcome. We got Finn Seeger TV, Gene Tillman, Sean Abney, Ryan Ford's Blue Collar Light, Mike Irvin, Parker Pursuits, Miss Cindy Stokes. See if I miss anybody up here. We got Dale Hayslip, Dave Funk,
Lance McCoo Guy, Jason Lamb, Catfish and Pappy,
take it over. Go.
Finn
Go,
Sig-
Big Daddy.
Ryan Bortz, Creole Catfishing, and they're still coming in. There's Tom with LG Bass.
Fishing with the squirrel. StreamYard has done something weird where it jumps all the time as people come in. Makes it a little bit harder to get names.
Yep, it does. John Patrick Jr., Sean Abney, Quiet Man Curtis, Tim Molina, Avid Fisherman, Big Bill, Veteran Catfishing. There's Troy with Real and Virtual Outdoors.
We get Finn Seeker TV.
Yeah.
Good to see that name back.
It is. It is.
Right now, I'm not seeing any new names there.
Barnum. I think we're about caught up.
Yeah, I think we're pretty much caught up there, sir. We'll see more popping in here and as we move along.
That's exactly right. And in the meantime, I don't have any tournament announcements, which is strange because usually I get some on Monday nights, but none come in today. So they must have forgot, or they didn't have a tournament over the weekend on whichever ones that normally send them. So that is awesome. But the topic of tonight's subject will be daytime or nighttime fishing.
Yes.
I know that you have been doing a lot of nighttime fishing, and that's something that's fairly new for you.
It is from the boat. And I've been more of a daytime fisherman the last few years. One, because I'm older now and have trouble staying awake half time. But two, I really like the morning bite most of the time. That's my prime time to fish. I like to be off the water before the pleasure boaters. And it's just been too hot lately.
Well, it has, and where we live, we do a lot of fishing on Lake Ozark, and as I've told you before, it is the number one tourist lake in the entire United States. So you can, whatever your lakes are anywhere in the United States, when they're at their worst in the summertime, ours is 10 times worse at the best. So
you can keep them pleasure boats.
Oh my! And I think they finally let them quit putting docks up on lake. They didn't have any restrictions on them for the longest time, so you can't hardly go anywhere that there's not a passel of docks. Private docks went with every piece of property that was sold around that lake, and I finally think that they did stop that now. Where I don't even think that you can get a permit for it any longer, but I'm not 100% sure on that, but you know, that makes for some good cover for bluegills and crappies and bass and every kind of fish imaginable. Even uh, it works good for catfish too, because they'll go up in there and get them a snack once in a while for off them docks. But the bigger ones usually don't hang out there too much. But that doesn't mean they wouldn't. Uh,
Mm-hmm.
but they're just so busy. Pardon me. They're just so busy because of all the people that's on there. In the summertime, that lake is jumping. I mean, it just is. So um, that has some bearing on where we fish a lot of times. But if you go up there, you need to go in early. The thing about Lake Ozark, now Truman's not so bad, but Lake the Ozarks, it really doesn't matter if you're up there day or night. The big boats and drunks are out there 24/7.
Really?
Oh yeah, they don't go in at night. A percentage of them do, but they're still running them big cigar boats wide open at night, right
I
down
never
through the
understood that.
middle. Yeah, and I don't understand it. There is a speed limit at night in the state of Missouri. It covers the entire state, to my knowledge. And why they don't do something about it is beyond me. I guess it's because they don't want out there with them fools either. But safety is one of the reasons why we haven't done as much night fishing as we used to. Used to be that was my favorite time in the summer, and it's not because the fish bite any better, because I don't believe they do. I think that it's just that much cooler and is that much more comfortable.
That's exactly right. You can attest because you've seen a little bit higher temperatures than what we are here, but we've seen so many days in the around 90 or above in the
Yeah,
last few weeks, in the last month.
yeah,
I
it's not
can't stand out there.
right now.
How much?
97, 97 right now at 7 o'clock. So
I'll say I thought 90 was bad here today. It was 89 or
over
90.
100. It was over 100 here today again. So, but we were supposed to have a couple more cool days. We had a couple of cool days over the weekend. It wasn't too bad, but that gives you time to get some of the stuff around the house you're supposed to do. But I really thought that we was going to get a couple more days of it. But as it turns out now, like I say, right now at 7 o'clock at night, it's 97.
Mm-mm.
Okay, the coolness starts tomorrow. It's only going to be 89 for the next 2 days, and then back up in the lower 90s. But I don't see anything over 94 this entire week. So, hey, that's a start. We'll take it. But
That's like I said. That's one of the reasons I've started trying to go out. Because anybody knows me, I love getting up right before daylight, being on that water and fishing early morning.
yeah,
That's my favorite. But like I said, when it's 90, this fair skinned fella burns easily.
uh,
So
I know what you mean. Here's something else about fishing nights versus days. If you fish days and you're not able to get out at night or choose not to for whatever the reason, take you a studio umbrella from your patio. Take
mhm.
something to cover yourself up. Just have it some shade will make it feel like a temperature drop of 5 to 10 degrees. And if there's any breeze at all, that's a lot.
Oh, absolutely. That's one of the greatest investments on my boat was my bimini.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, ours has the top of our, which you would call it a bimini top, but it snaps to the windshield, is part of the enclosure that goes
That
with
makes
it.
sense.
So that's just there. It's a permanent fixture on the boat, and it only takes seconds to put that up. I mean, just like I say, shade is a huge deal to anybody that sits and spends much time in a boat, and it'll keep rain off of you too. But shade is the number one reason in my book to
Absolutely.
have one. Now, I know this. A lot of guys have got something that I didn't even know about until this year, and it's little electric fans.
Yeah, I've seen more and more people talking about the little electric fans, and I still have not gotten one for the boat.
Yeah, I don't have one. I'm not sure I will get one, but on a still day where there's no breeze, I can see where that'd be a distinct advantage. But I've also seen some guys that have made some coolers that they take ice and they fill up a cooler with, and they
Hmm.
put a fan and drill a hole and then have a piece of PCV come out of the top like a 3 or 4 inch one with a 90 on it, and they'll blow that cool air off that ice rod on. That's pretty cool. You know,
I seen that a video of one of them a couple weeks ago, and I was like, you know what? At first, I'm sitting there like, why are they tearing up this cooler?
yeah,
What? And all of a sudden, they get to the final product, and I was like, now that sounds pretty cool.
that'd be pretty awesome. So,
That'd be almost worth buying those $6 bags of ice.
well, you know, when we was in Texas, I believe it was Texas, they have places you go fill up your coolers. How many ever of them you have for like $2, and
Yeah.
it's on a time limit. And that was the only place I'd ever seen one. Well, we have one near here now.
Really?
So-
See, we don't have any like that up here.
Yeah, it's the only one that I've seen, and Cindy pointed out the other day when we went somewhere. So for a couple bucks, if you got 2 or 3 coolers, you can fill them up until the ice stops, and it's on a timer. Like I say, that's a heck of a deal. That beats the price of this ice. And we have a Save a Lot that has a pretty good price on ice, and Dollar General has a pretty good price on ice in our neighborhood.
Yeah. See, the only place that I've seen that we've been to is when we get down to like Wheeler and Wilson. There's some, you put like you said, $2 in there or something, and you fill a cooler up.
Yeah.
You know, basically.
I think them are state owned, I believe. I'm not 100% sure, but whoever does it, it's a great idea, and it saves the consumer a lot of money.
Oh yeah.
And let's face it, at night or day, it doesn't matter. If you keep fish to eat, you need ice. If you don't keep fish to eat, you still got to drink, so you need ice. If you take any snacks, I mean, you got to have ice. You just got to. And we freeze a lot of half-gallon and 1-gallon milk jugs to make the ice last longer, and that does help. But yeah, you got to have ice. You just got to. And if you're keeping small fish to clean, those fish actually clean better if they're cooled out, I think. And if I'm going to keep them clean, a lot of times I'll bleed them out by cutting their gills and get rid of what blood is in them. Big Wrench Catfishing, new member. Thank you, sir.
Welcome.
Very much. But yeah, there's a lot of reasons to have ice other than for air conditioning.
Oh yeah.
But
yeah. If I want to keep something cool, it's definitely going to be one I want to keep myself a little bit cool. So.
Absolutely. Well, maybe D.
Well, I can't help it. She's always hot, so it doesn't matter.
I got you. I got you.
I got to get my brownie points in there, Lyle.
Yeah, I know. Snag and Whiskers, welcome. Fishing with the Squirrel. El Gato. Kevin with Palmetto Cats. Parker Pursuits. I believe I seen Sandy in here a minute ago. Sean T. $2 for 16 pounds of ice over here on them portable ice places. Not bad.
Not bad. Or 22, like I said, the other day it was 22-pound bags of ice were $6 a piece.
Vanessa Kitty, a cooler filled with shaved ice comes in handy. Yep, I can see that. There's Frank with Twisted Whiskers. Matt with Wannabe Outdoors. El Catfish Grande. And Michelle, hello. Mike Irwin. They're still piling in. Glad to see everybody come in here. Mr. Gadget's got here. But yeah, there's a lot of advantages. Now, there is people, Chad, that think, and I used to think that fish bit more at night than in the daytime, and I do not believe that now. I think that two of the optimal times of the day or night is right at dusk and right at daylight. And I other than that, I think they bite round the clock, 24 hours a day. When it's handy for them, when something comes by that they want to eat, they'll eat. When they're hungry, they'll find something to eat. If there's weather changes, I think that entices them to look for things. There's Lisabella. I think that'll entice them to look for things that they might not be looking for, and I think they'll stick on structure where there is bait fish.
I agree. The only thing that I have noticed, and it's not like I said, there's still fish that bite between these times, but it seems like 12 and 3, AM or PM, seems to be that slowdown period. And like I said, still catch fish from time to time down around here on them, but that to me is the time. If I'm out, I should just take a nap. Because I called it Saturday night. I said, about between 3 and 3:30, fish will start biting. 3:30 hit, and I caught that one first fish. After all those hours, I finally caught a fish, and then I only stayed about another half hour, and I was gone because I was getting cold.
So do you take a nap then, or
Um, I'm not that confident fishing at night out on the river yet to go to sleep, especially when we got barges coming left and right Saturday night.
got a good anchor? Just set her up there. Go ahead.
Oh, and that's the thing. Like you're talking about safety wise, is um, you would think people would be smart enough to not go 40, 30, 40, 50 mile an hour up and down the river, but they do.
They do, and
And
I believe that 30 is the max speed limit you're allowed on any water in the state of Missouri
yeah,
after dark.
I think that's too fast.
Well, I
If not,
agree, but them guys that's got them boats that run 90, they want to go 90, and they don't care what the law says. They're going to go
no.
whatever it is anyhow. But yeah, I think that's 20 25 would be plenty fast. Whatever it is to get your boat up on plane would make more sense to me than anything. If you get your boat on plane at 10 mile an hour, that's fine. Me, it takes me about 20 25 to get mine up on plane. Don't take very long to get there, but once it gets there, I back it off where it's just comfortable to drive it. So, uh,
Yeah.
Bill, Bill and Duke Catfishing, welcome.
Oh, I've caught more cat what faster in a month than Chad has in 20 years. You must know me very well. Oh,
Oh man,
wow, Bill and Duke Catfish is my new favorite. They're already picking on me.
right in here, don't they?
But the ones that drive me nuts, we were sitting out there, and there had been a couple boats fly up, and then you see their lights. But we were sitting there, Lyle, and you could hear this boat coming down the river, but you could never see where they were at. You could hear them for, a good 10 minutes trying to figure out where they were coming at, and we heard them pass, and we still never even seen the boat.
Kevin says they run so fast down there by him, they only got 3 blades of the 4 of the prop in the water at one time. That sounds like you've been to the Lake of the Ozarks, because that's the way they do here. There's Steve Locke, K&B Angling. Annette's in the house. It is. It's just silly to travel the speeds at night, especially if a lot of guys doing that are not local guys. They just, they don't know if they're going to come up on a sandbar or a sunken dike or
Yeah.
an island on the lakes that's just under the water. Depending on the height of the water on any of the bodies of water, could be a huge and all the lakes down here have lots and lots of trees that have been under the water for 30 or 40 years.
That's what I
So,
was here right there. Obviously, there's always logs floating in a river, but if you don't know where some of these are, there's deadheads that just stick straight up,
that's right.
and all it takes is hit it once. Well, where Saturday I was. Kevin, yeah, you hitting your brake won't make somebody else stop.
No, but makes you feel better while you're pushing on it.
Yeah.
Uh, that is for sure. Fat man in a little boat. Welcome. Oh, yeah, I understand. He says they just about turn his little boat over sometimes. Well, and it doesn't have to be a little boat. With some of the wakes they get coming
Mm-hmm.
off of a lot of them big, well, barges on the river, but some of the big boats that we deal with down here, they put out huge wakes, just absolutely huge. As you would think it would come off of a barge sometimes. But
We had one hit us Saturday night that I heard the white caps coming probably 50 yards before they ever got to our boats, and I looked over. My buddy Bill was anchored up on more towards the river channel than I was, and I looked over, and all of a sudden I just see his pontoon just go. Boom. It shook so hard, and I was like, "Oh man!"
yeah,
And by the time it hit me, about 2 seconds later, it felt like somebody hit my boat, not a wave, like somebody hit my boat. It hit so freaking hard.
yeah,
That was just by them coming down through there so fast. And like I was telling you earlier, we were parked right above the mouth of that creek, and they went into that creek full throttle. They never stopped.
yeah. I understand. Lee says sandbars are horrible upstream there. If you're looking into the sun, makes it a no bueno. I got you, man. I think he's fishing the Missouri River over there. And yeah, it's tough. Jason DeRoche, Crazy Cat Outdoors, just letting you all know Silly Slam is this Saturday from noon to noon. Thank you in advance in Akron, Iowa.
Where to Iowa? Skilly Slam. I've not heard of that.
I haven't either. That's a new one for me. Yes, it will, Kevin. Kevin says having two boats cross each other and you in the middle will rattle your world. It will. But that's the kind of stuff. If you are going to deal with tourist lakes like the Ozarks and many others, you'll have to deal with that. Uh, Outdoors in Indiana with Dave Scott says, I'm glad Indiana has a 10-mile-an-hour speed limit at night. Still get the occasional dimwit running lights out at 60 on the lakes. Yeah, you're always going to have that one. And like I say, that's the issue with the water patrol not being out there at night. And they don't have to be out there every night, but they should make a surprise appearance once in a while. The key to that, like so many other things, the judges have to make the fines substantial enough that you only want to get caught breaking that rule once, and that'll stop it. So uh, just a slap on the wrist doesn't deter anyone. You know, whenever we used to get caught drag racing, it'd be 15, 20 of us out on the side of the road. In those days, the fines was $200 or $300. Well, that was 2 or 3 weeks paychecks back in the 70s. So you didn't want to get caught doing it. So you either outrun them or you didn't do it. And which I've been down both ends of that street, so I liked it a lot. But these days, if you get caught breaking the law on the water, which is going to cause somebody bodily harm, it should be multiple thousands of dollar fine or time in jail. That's the only thing that's going to get through to people. You can't just charge them $100 anymore and expect them to stop, because they'll just pull $100 bill out of their pocket, pay it, laugh at you, and go on. You got to make it to where it hurts.
And that's my point. Is it's very scary to how fast they're they kill somebody. Just like we talked about the 2 weeks before that. I think people throwing things off of bridges.
Oh yeah,
should be hefty.
Yeah,
very easy, to kill somebody over that.
It is. It is. That's a terrible thing to do. I don't know how much of that happens these days. It used to happen once in a while. I was coming back from Talladega, Alabama, with 5 other guys in a motorhome, and some kids was throwing bricks off of an overpass and hit the corner of the wraparound windshield in that motorhome as we come through there. I had just stopped driving, and it scared the guy to death. I laid down, and it sounded like a gun went off in that motorhome. And I got back up. It scared the guy that was driving so bad he couldn't drive. We got to the top of the hill, pulled over. There's 3 or 4 other vehicles on a tractor trailer there. that had the same thing that happened. It was just regular bricks, and we know that's what it was because it stuck in that windshield, didn't come all the way through. And by the time the police got there, of course they was gone. It was 2 or 3 hours in the middle of the night, and that's something that I've not ever forgotten, and probably never will. But like I say, I just laid down. I drove the rest of the way in because that guy, he was scared to death. He couldn't cope with it, and that's a bad situation. So in a boat, it'd be a lot worse because the chance of hitting a windshield with all that open is slim to none because they're going to end up hitting somebody, and it'd probably kill them, or maim them. So that's a bad deal.
Uncle Lou says the Skilly Slam is being held on the Big Sioux River.
Okay. Lee also says, sure glad we don't have barges up that far to worry about. Pleasure boaters and jet skis would be getting wiped out constantly. Hey, you are so lucky, Lee. Just so lucky. But we'd all be luckier if there wasn't any jet skis too. But what do I know about that?
There's Mr. Mark from Catfish and Crappie.
Yes, sir.
Just paid his toll for being late. Thank you, sir. Thank you.
Appreciate it much. Seen somebody else's comment in here. I wanted to. Well, David Martin says they should revoke the registration sticker for 30 to 90 days each violation. That'll make a little bit of difference. David, I hope that you're feeling better. David going to have a go round of COVID here recently. Hope that he's all healed up from that. That's a tough deal. We kind of thought that was looking at that in the rear view, but maybe not. Hey, there's Van with B3 Custom Kentucky.
Yeah, I've seen Miss Annette Morgan has made it in, Mr. Gadget, Danny Stone, and Mr. Bumpin' Mike Greenwell.
Telly with hooks and hammocks.
That's my favorite, hooks and hammocks.
Well, yeah. And the
question for you, Lyle.
The taller of the two. What's that, buddy?
Since we're talking about day and night fishing, I mean, I guess it could all still be considered night fishing, but have you ever noticed if that evening bite isn't on, that it turns into a better AM bite, or vice versa?
I've never noticed that. The thing that I've noticed is when it gets so hot that you have a hard time catching bait, a lot of times you might ought to just stay home. Because if the bait's hard to get, it's telling me that the rest of the fish are not going to be a whole lot easier. But then again, I caught a huge flathead below the dam at Clarksville one night. Cindy and I had 3 or 4 pieces of shad that I caught there at the boat ramp, and we caught some bluegill, and that's all the bait we had. And I caught giant flathead down there that night.
I'm still trying to gauge my thinking there, and maybe I'm just wrong, but I seem to be having better luck. Like I said, after that, and a couple times that I've been out, and we've had those very hot days. So maybe it's, they get active once the night gets cooler, and some of that water, cools down a few degrees from the overnight. But I don't know if that's what it is, or I just suck at evening fishing.
Well, right now I think a lot of the fish are still on nest. Now I know in a lot of areas they are coming off nest, but I'm not sure they all are yet. But we always say they don't all go on at the same time, so that means they all don't come off at the same time. And water temperature plays a huge part of that. But once them eggs are laid and the male has fertilized them and sits there and fans them until they hatch, it's usually not but a few days, and they're taken off as soon as the male figures that that school will be able to take care of itself and find it a little spot to stay and fend off the predators, and that would be everything bigger than them, basically. Pretty much. So I don't know, but right, it just seems like this whole year has been a little bit strange for us to spawn, in my opinion. Uh, but I think that it's got to be getting close to being done everywhere, and at that point, uh, them big females are going to be hungry, and once the males are done, they sure are going to be too.
I would think so. I did notice this on Saturday when I went out, though. The shad sure have hatched. The creek is loaded with them half-inch, 1-inch shad.
Yeah.
Just you could see them everywhere. Big
And for bait,
school.
they're worthless.
Yeah, I'm just saying. So the hatchlings are all starting to move around. So hopefully that means, like you said, everything else is coming into play. But
Yep, yep. I think so, and I think that it'll be good. The only thing about the shad hatchlings is that makes a lot of bass and crappie love that because they eat them little devils just to beat the band. Now I'm sure catfish do too, but they'd have to have 100 of them to do a big blue any good. But who knows? A lot of times they do go in and get whole mouthfuls of them at a time. You can watch on your sonar in the wintertime when they are schooled up and there's big old balls of bait. You'll get one single one underneath that ball, and just every once in a while go up there and grab a snack. Well, I'm betting it ain't grabbing one. It's getting two or three at a time or more.
I know I would.
Yeah, me too. That'd be like going and getting one Lay's potato chip. Nobody can eat just one.
Yeah, it's like going to an all-you-can-eat shrimp buffet and only grabbing one little shrimp.
Yeah, that ain't never
Yeah,
gonna
it
happen.
ain't happening.
It ain't never gonna happen.
I will say, a little tip I realized this weekend is when you're in the 90s and you go out fishing and you see that the low is going to be 60 degrees, make sure you take a hoodie or something to keep warm with, because that just laid me out all day Sunday and part of the day today.
Huge change.
It's a big temperature drop.
Yeah. And in a matter of what, 4 hours?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Once that cool wind started and it got down into the 60s and stuff like that, and it started hitting me, and I actually did take a hoodie, but my smartness got it soaking wet somehow, so it did me no good. I couldn't put it on, and it did. It laid me out for the rest of the day when I got home Sunday and most of the day today. That's why I'm kind of a little stuffy this morning or this evening. So
I understand.
yeah,
What's that?
I said I'm getting better, man.
Oh, good. We have Super Fat Boy Smurf Fishing. We have Stephanie, Real Gals Fishing, Fishing for Freedom. Hey, Richard. I've seen somebody else in here.
Team Snag and Whiskers and Freddy's Outdoor Adventures.
Freddie, that's who the other one was. And Jody has made it. Joe Ziegler. Steve Locke, 760.
Hooks and Hammocks.
So Chris made it too after Kelly did, huh?
Yeah, I guess, after Telly started watching, he felt bad and figured he had to put his name out here. Is Chad crying like a little girl? Yes, I am, Parker Pursuits. Can't handle 60 degrees. Well, like I said, when you go from 90 to 60 in a couple hours, and it was fine until that wind started. And then it was blowing just right to where it was blowing on the back of my neck. And I guess, you have the sinus glands that go down your neck. And it just tore me up. You all wait till you're my age, all right?
Right.
Yeah, Dad knows.
I do.
Let's see.
I'm trying to figure this out. I've come to the conclusion there are no more catfish that haven't been caught. We have caught them all, and they will never bite a hook again. I don't believe that to be the case.
I think he's saying he's caught every fish out there, and that's why he's not catching fish right now. He's done
He
full of them. And they don't want
catches
to bite
his
anymore.
share, but I'm not so sure that he's caught that many. Richard, keeping it real fishing. Um, I just think that the spawn has a lot to do with it. I also think that the water temperature has a lot to do with it. Now, I understand the water temperature most of the way through the Midwest is in the 80s now.
That's where we're at.
Yeah, and that makes it pretty tough too. Um, and there's a thermocline on a lot of the lakes, so for the most part, you're going to have to be less than 20 foot of depth usually to get out of it. And if that's the case, I don't go and try to fish above a thermocline. I find a place where the thermocline isn't affecting it, and I fish that area. So if the thermocline's at, just as an example, 20 foot, I'll go to a place where the total depth is 20 foot or less, because it seems like a more majority of fish will be there than just out in the open above the thermocline, because they're not going to be underneath it very long because there's no oxygen down there. So I just try to find a spot that's above it and a depth that whatever depth it's at, whether it be 20 or 10 or whatever it is, and fish those areas, because the majority of the fish I find, active fish anyway, will be up in those areas, and you can usually pick off a few.
I haven't hit any of the local lakes here in the last couple of months, so I don't know. I'm sure there's a thermocline in them, but I haven't been there to see.
If you're fishing, well, you probably got a thermocline in the Ohio River. It's never got a current.
Are you ever going to stop hating on my great Ohio River?
No, I will not.
No.
David Martin says, "Get off the main channel and fish the secondary points to avoid." That's pretty correct. Pretty correct.
We haven't. We finally did slow down on the current. It picked up a little bit over the last week just because of the rain, but it only got back up to, I think it was like 1.6 or something like that.
Yeah, we ain't had any rain in 3 weeks now. So,
Yep.
which we had plenty all spring, but now we could use some. I didn't mow my yard last week, first time all year, so may not mow it this week.
I'll say I didn't mow mine last week either. So
my neighbor to the east of me, she hadn't mowed hers in a couple 3 weeks. She got some little tree sprouts growing up in it, but the grass is still down, looking good. Kim Burnett, welcome.
Mark says River doesn't have thermocline. Just saying, Mark, I can tell you that I have seen in the 3 years that I have been fishing the Ohio, one time that the Ohio River had a thermocline because we did not have any rain for like 3 months.
I promise you that ain't the only time that's happened there.
No. That's what I'm saying. In the 3 years that I have been fishing, I've seen it the one time.
Yeah, if there's current, you won't get a thermocline usually, but
No.
if there's not, any body of water is accessible.
Yeah, it got so bad on the Ohio River that year that really, Sean T. It got so bad though that we had that green algae, that toxic green algae on the Ohio River.
Yeah, no kidding. And when it gets like that, that's bad.
Yeah, it got really bad that year.
Yeah. I remember people talking about that. I didn't go down there that year, but I remember people talking about it, and it was horrible.
Yeah.
It was horrible. Hey, there's Fishing with Robbie.
What's up, buddy?
Good to see you in here. Need to see Robbie, see how he's doing fishing. We haven't heard anything much out of him recently.
Been a little quiet, haven't he?
He has.
see.
Does anybody in chat have any questions about night and day fishing that we could help you with?
At least try.
Oh, yeah, we'll give it a shot. Crazy hillbilly.
I will say, trying to, especially from a boat, because I bank fish, and that's all I ever did was night fished for years and years and years. But doing it from the boat was definitely different. I'm trying to, one, make sure I have lighting when I go out. You want to make sure you have your batteries are charged, your gas tank. You have plenty of ways to get out of the way if something's coming through.
There's Art. Welcome, Art. I just seen here it is. Dave Funk says he's been catching blues suspended at 5 foot in 40 foot of water. Lots
Huh.
of fun when it's slamming. That's kind of weird. They're suspended at 5 foot, but they're over 40 foot of water.
A
That's
5 foot
crazy.
off the bottom. Yeah. Oh, you're higher up than I am, I think. There you are.
I don't know which one you had.
I had one from Uncle Lou. If I can figure out where it went.
Okay. Ryan Bort says ain't nobody wants advice from Chad. He can't fish worth a lick.
He's not wrong. We're not all Ryan Boards.
Who caught a giant here about a week or so.
Well, I think it's a pet fish that he carries around on a leash, and then when he wants to take a picture, he just pulls it up. There it is.
Maybe
Top channel swings at night or bottom sides.
I love channel swings. They work great.
And Shanti, I am not afraid to bring Dee with me fishing. She just doesn't want to fish with me no more.
Tired of catching all the fish.
I can get out of here in a minute. Uncle Jeep's going out tonight.
Here's a great question from Matt. Do you switch techniques from night to day? Do you fish shallow or deep in the day? Do you fish shallow or deep at night? I fish wherever I find the fish. If they're shallow, I fish shallow. If they're deep, I fish deep. And as far as techniques, no. I would, if rigs, I will keep changing rigs till I find one that works. And baits.
I just missed my mouth.
I find that very hard.
It's very difficult.
But
switching techniques from day to night, not really. The only thing I haven't done yet, just because I'm not confident in what I'm doing, is trying to drag baits at night. But like you just said, suspending, anchoring up, it's going to be the same. I'm going to keep doing what I do. You've got to figure out where they're at, whether they're moving up into the flats or they're, hanging on the ledges out there. That's what I'm trying to figure out when I'm out there.
I will say that dragging planer boards at night on Lake of the Ozarks is a huge mistake because they'll just run over them. They don't even try to see them. So
Really?
if you're going to do that, you need to be on a calmer lake like Truman or Palm de Terre or Stockton, something like that, where there's not nearly as much boat traffic. Because on the Lake of the Ozarks, they don't care if they run over you or your equipment. They just don't care, And if you chase them down, you better have your game face on because there'll be 8 or 10 of them come out of that boat, and you'll have to beat down all of them.
So what you're saying is if we make a trip out there, it'd be better for us to fish Truman and Palm de Terre than it would be Ozarks.
This time of year, yeah.
No.
Now in the fall, not so much because most of them big boats are put up, and go in there where them $1 million houses are and catch them fish, and you pull one up and the guy's on his dock and he'll tell you, "Oh my, if I didn't know there's a fish that size in there, I'd never let my kids swim in the lake."
Oh my God.
They don't know that them fish that size are even in there because they fish for crappie and bass. That's right, Josh. Bring an equalizer. That is correct. It sure is. Yeah, I hear you, Brian. Brian.
Let's see, there we go. But that's the other thing I like to do. Is if I can't figure it out, because you'll go out and I'll mark fish at 25. I'll mark fish at 35, and that sort of thing. Anchor with, and everybody knows I love to anchor. But fanning them baits out. That's one thing I love about pulling boards and stuff is you can typically find where those fish are feeding at, or where they're holding at least.
Hey, you can suspend bait off of a planer board and
Yep.
put it wherever you want it.
Yeah.
Which is a lot of fun. Lot of fun.
Yeah.
Anybody else got any questions? If not, what do you say we give away some prizes tonight?
You got prizes?
I do.
That's like so unlike you.
I have some Mad Catter catfishing stuff from Captain Richard Ward from St. Joseph, Missouri. I got a package of 3 of these bait holder hooks setups. And then we also have Mad Catter's Catfishing. We have a rig set up with an 8/0 circle hook, line rattles, and a 2.5 inch, I believe it's 2.5 inch oval float.
Well, there we go. Let's get the hashtag Mad Catter up in there.
Let's do it.
Give folks a minute to start putting that in, and you just tell me how many times to pull the trigger later. We'll be good to go.
David Martin says this time of year, anchoring at night near a point that has shallow water and deep water, sit and wait, they will come. I agree with that.
There they come. There we go. Here we got them going now.
Heck yeah.
Yeah, we tried that after everything else had failed Saturday night. We ended up right there at the end of that mouth. There's a long flat, and like I was telling you, there's some big dips that go right down into the channel. They go down and up, and then it dips back down into the main channel. We just were not having any kind of luck Saturday night.
Once those fish come off of the nest and lots of them are feeding, a great place is to find a creek that drains into your main body of water that you're fishing and set up over that, because lots of times there will be a hole right there and it'll be deep water with shallow water around it, and bait fish normally will be in the shallow water so they can come up out of the deep and go get them a snack and then go back down. And if you're set up somewhere in between, you usually will do good. And that's one of my favorite places to fish, especially if I'm anchored.
So he likes to fish a decline, put the bait in the deep, the middle, and the shallow.
There you go.
That's what I was talking about earlier about fanning them baits out.
That's right.
I'll hit everything between the bait, the bank, right off the bank, all the way down to as far as I can get into the channel, and fan them all out.
Fat girl in a deep V boat. That's a new one on me.
I like it.
Yeah, me too.
But as Lyle would say, sometimes I have a trot line out there with my poles.
I see no reason why all these states couldn't get together and make it the same for everybody.
I know, unlimited for all.
Well, I think that's too much. I'm very comfortable with our rod limit, but we can use more. You just have to have your conservation number or your name and address on a decal or something put on your rod. You can use more than the 3, but I think that unlimited is too many. I think 10 is too many per person. I really do.
If we were going to put a limit here, I would say 6.
That'd be fine. I could go with that.
Yeah.
Just because, hell, look at the amount of bait that you're wasting baiting them up.
Well, yeah, I mean,
I mean, Dieter would go buy chicken for that many.
I know, right? I mean, look at if you're using a double hook rig on every one of them and you're suspended baits.
Yeah. Now there is, and I do use double hook rigs a lot, but some states there is a limit on the number of hooks you could use.
Yeah. Well, I mean, look at like what is it, Wisconsin? You could have, what was it, 3 hooks.
3 hooks.
That's all you can use.
Rods, 3
rods, 3 hooks.
You could have 3 hooks on one rod if you want.
Yep.
But yeah, one rod's all you're allowed to use in Minnesota. One rod.
Which I think rich.
So,
yeah.
Poor old Luke, he has to really fight it. But
yeah, he's in Minnesota, right? Ain't they the one rod limit state? That's insane to me.
Yeah, I don't get that. I've never understood that, and I know that I've been hearing about that from Luke for years and years, and I know that they are working on that. So hopefully they get something done with that, because that really is ridiculous. And but yeah,
Tessa, I'm not sure where you're fishing at, but I would highly suggest, unless you're just going for like channel cats, try to match the hatch. So if you got bluegill in your area, shad, something like that, I would rather use that than a dough ball any day if you're looking for catfish.
Oh, yeah.
Like I said, I don't know where about you're fishing out there, but
Mark Byram says that they George, he got away from me. They have to buy a tag for the 3rd in Iowa. Yeah, 2 is the limit. In Missouri, you're allowed 3 anywhere except Mississippi River. Then it's 2, unless you have your name and conservation number, something on there with your address, phone number, and all that's supposed to be on there. And then you're allowed 3 on the Mississippi, but 2 on the Mississippi without that information. And yet they'll let a guy run 33 hook trot line. So go figure.
Exactly. Yeah.
Don't make any sense to me. I've tried so hard with the Missouri Department of Conservation for 25 or 30 years, trying to make them understand how important it is to have regulations and make these commercial guys adhere to it. There is a lot of honest ones. There is a whole lot of them that aren't, that don't ever keep track of what they do, and they don't try to even reasonably close to do it right. And I realize they're trying to make a living, but they're also costing the rest of us fish when we're turning them back, and they're stealing them out and selling them to pay lakes and stuff like that. And that is just a huge no-no with me. I just can't get over how they do that and why they do that. Well, I do know why, but there's Tall Betty. But I just don't go for that, and I see no reason for any of the rest of them. And I know that you live in the state of Kentucky, but it is one of the worst there is about doing anything about it. But I got it. I've talked to them guys, and as long as people keep calling them names and bitching and cussing them every day that they get online, they're going to continue to do exactly what they want to do, and I cannot blame them for that.
I can't either.
If you want to get something done, you have to have a positive presence to deal with those political people. And if you can't do it, you're way better off to shut your mouth and stay out of it.
Woo, you get me fired up. But you know what? It comes down to being pretty simple. We have lost the ability to talk to one another as human beings.
That's right.
Social media has gotten us to where we can get all fired up and act a fool and think it's going to make change, and it's not. That's not, like you said, that's not the way to handle it.
It just makes you look like an idiot.
It does.
That's it.
All right, we got 8:55 here, or well, in God's time, it's 7:55 in Little Devil Lyle Stokes time. We got 40 entries. We got 87 people watching. If you are interested in these great Mad Catter floats and goodies that he's got, Jump on in here. We're gonna get ready to spin this any second now. I see. What did he
I
say?
would say go ahead with the first one.
Did you say something, Chick? I was seeing Mark yapping. But it's true. I mean,
It is that you're 100% correct. I agree. So
V3 Customs. What's up, man?
Van,
Congratulations.
I just mailed him off one.
That lucky son of a gun.
I'll write his name on another one.
You can still get that hashtag in. If you have not, we have 44 inches right now. We're going to draw it how many more times, Lyle?
One more time.
One more time. I'm going to give it just a minute. Don't forget Catfish and Crappie tonight. He's got Mr. Fishing and Stuff on tonight. Should be an awesome show. But, yeah, we got to learn how to freaking talk to each other and talk to people again and get out of this keyboard warrior mentality that
If you can't play the political game, you do everybody a favor if you just shut up.
I agree. All right, we're going to give it about 10 more seconds. 10, 9, 8. I ain't saying nothing. I've been in enough trouble. You are correct, Chad. Well, I mean, there's a time for some rant, and then there's time for nothing. I mean, it's okay to state your opinion, but if you're going to do something like that, we got to say it correctly and professionally, and try to make a good case, not come out looking like a fool where they're just going to laugh at us and tell us to have a nice day.
That's right.
All right. Daggone, I was going to try to get it before Hooks and Hammocks got in here. Oh. All right, here we go. We're going to get ready to spin this number 2. Van V3 Customs, get with Mr. Lyle on your winnings.
I probably still got this from last week.
You threw it away.
Well, I still got the message. That girl in the boat. You're going to have to send me.
Congratulations. All right, I got to get that off the screen. I can't even look at that anymore.
You'll have to send me a message on Messenger. You can send it to Catfish Weekly through Messenger. You can send it to me personally, or you can email me at catfishweeklytv@gmail.com. Either way, and I will get this out to you. I just need your shipping address and your correct name, because I'm pretty sure that's not it.
That's what I'm thinking.
But I love it. It's awesome. It's awesome.
Mark says, how much you want to bet you won't be getting an address from @FatGirl in a Deep V vote?
Well, you never know.
You never know. Why do I need to be taken behind a woodshed? Because I'm right? Oh, look. This must be Fat Girl's husband, Fat Man in a little boat. I'm just throwing it. I get kind of fits there, Lyle. I don't know.
There's Wild Turkey, John Chili.
What's going on?
Oh, man. Danny, they would never allow me to have any. Because if I thought you think Trump was radical if he got in office, you ain't seen nothing. They'd ever give me a shot at some of that power. Because I'll tell you right now, there were fines put up to where if you got caught doing the wrong stuff in fishing and hunting, you would be in deep doo-doo.
Oh.
Probably be slacked up on the speed and stuff. Because
I was incorrect, Lyle. That is not the husband. I just kind of assumed by the names. I don't know.
Oh, man. Just send me your information so I can get this stuff shipped out to you. I've got 2 or 3 laying here on my desk. I will mention that we tell this every once in a while, and probably ought to do it more often, that if you don't claim your prizes within a week and send me your information, then we're going to give it away again, because I've got several of them here that people haven't sent me their shipping information, which tells me they had either jumped out of chat before their name was drawn or didn't want it or whatever the case was. But I try to contact people, and if I can get a hold of them, we go ahead and send it to them. But if you don't get me your information within a week, I mean, if I haven't got it by next Monday, chances are you either don't want it or whatever, and we'll give it to somebody else. So bear that in mind. Try to get to me in a timely manner. And right now, bear in mind also that the shipping from the U.S. Postal Service, which is what I use, it's all I got here in Buffalo, and um, they're very slow. I know DHL probably is not. Chad's probably got them chopping, but
Only
but
problem with that is we don't do domestic, so I have to use the post office. So
oh, okay. Well, there we go. We
yeah.
appreciate everybody watching tonight. Be sure to tune in Thursday night for the bait shop. Chad and Freddie will be there at 7 Central Time, 8 Eastern, followed by
Panfish Nation.
Panfish Nation. And we have a guest this weekend.
Really?
We do.
Who you got?
A really good one. Hang on just a second, I'll tell you. There is a show on television on YouTube, and I don't have the guy's name. Online Fishing is the guy's YouTube channel. He catches a lot of panfish. He catches walleye and bass. He does a lot of survey stuff, checking on different kinds of fish. He fishes all over the place, and very knowledgeable young man, and that is who will be on the show this Thursday night. So be sure to tune in for that, and then be sure to jump in here next Monday night on Catfish Weekly. Anything else, Chad?
No, other than Fat Girl on a Deep V boat says to spin it again if you want to, real quick.
What are they going to donate?
They're going to donate it back. Yeah, they're going to donate it to somebody else.
Okay, that's up to you.
I still have it ready, so I'll go ahead and do that one more time.
Okay.
We'll see if we can come away with a different winner. Thank you for letting that roll. They didn't want us to know who it really was. Wow.
I guess.
Well, that. A couple crossings.
I think I've got your shipping address, Betty, so I will ship that right out to you also.
As much as she's won, you should have her on speed dial, mail dial, whatever you want to call it.
Mail dial. Thanks, everybody, for watching. We appreciate it. And we'll see you next Monday night.
Have a great week, everybody.